Good. Hey, good morning. Thank you guys for your patience. Thank you for being here with us today. My name is Rita Smith, RITA-SMITH. I am the Lee County Emergency Management Agency Public Information Officer. Today we've got some information to provide, and we're going to start out with our Alabama Emergency Management Agency Director, Brian Hastings. That is Hastings. He's going to speak to you, and then he will introduce the next person, so on and so forth. Please keep your questions until the end. We will take some. Please be respectful and keep them to the end. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Rita. I appreciate that. On behalf of Governor Ivey and the state of Alabama, I want to thank Sheriff Jones and EMA Director Kathy Carson for their hospitality, and we also want to pass on our condolences and our sympathies to all those impacted by the storms who have lost loved ones, family members, and friends during this trying and devastating time. This tornado that happened on Sunday was unbelievable, an EF4, 170 knots, and when you see the devastation, it's just hard to fathom that something can be this powerful and it tracked through Lee County. So we're sorry for everyone's loss. I just want to give you a quick update on what the state is doing for Lee County on behalf and at the request of Sheriff Jones and EMA Director Kathy Carson. So today we've been coordinating with the Forestry Department, and they have an incident management team that will be deployed to Smith Station to help out with some response, transition to recovery activities. So we'll be involved with that. We have personnel still embedded in Kathy's EOC, and we'll be helping bridge the information gap from the counties, the cities, through Lee County to the state up to the federal government. This morning we had conversations with Assistant Administrator Jeff Byard. He just wanted to check in on us, and we've been in constant contact with the FEMA Region 4 Administrator, who we expect will be out here tomorrow or Thursday to see the operations and the area. So we are just trying to identify gaps, make sure that we fill those gaps and the capabilities that the local communities need at this time. Back at Clinton at the state EOC, we have a FEMA incident management assessment team who's embedded in our operations, and they're working through building a incident strategic plan so that we can marry up our current response operations into a smooth transition to the long recovery period, which will be long and it will be very arduous, but we look forward to continuing with a close relationship with Lee County Sheriff, Lee County EMA, to make sure that we know the needs and we attend to those needs of Lee County in their time of suffering. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Lee County EMA Director Kathy Carson.
And we appreciate everything the state has been here for us in a big way, providing resources and support staff for all of our agencies. We have had an outpouring of offers for assistance from huge humanitarian organizations. Samaritan's Purse, that they are all offering assistance here, and we are beginning to form up with them to be able to get that assistance down to the grassroots where the people need it, and that is our next goal. We will be opening tomorrow in Smith Station, and you'll have to check back on our website for the exact location because I don't have authorization to release that yet. Tomorrow in Smith Station at 8 a.m. Central Time, we will open a volunteer reception center, and we are asking anyone who is a volunteer who has something to offer or give to this situation, come to the volunteer reception center, and this process we'll put the people through. We'll give them some safety briefings and some personal protective gear, and then we will take care of getting them to the sites. The sites are going to be determined by the citizen registration on 211. When the citizens have a need, they need to register that need by dialing 211, and we will match up volunteers and with different capabilities and perhaps some products with the requests from the citizens on 211. So we do need for people to continue to register there and let us know what they need. We want to hear from them. We can't help them if we don't hear what their needs are. So we're strongly encouraging them to get in touch with that. Right now, Highway is giving the authorization for citizens to begin to have their debris pushed to the edge of the roadway. And it will be picked up by Lee County if it is pushed up to the county right-of-way. But we're asking them, please don't block your driveway. Don't put it in the gutters. Don't block any fire hydrants or anything of that nature. But they can begin to push that debris so they can begin the cleaning process in many situations. Okay. We're also going to be registering resources that will be available to the citizens to do that. If they have a need for that, they need to register it with 211. As far as our volunteers go, if you are an unaffiliated volunteer, we want you to report to the VRC, to the Volunteer Reception Center. That's where we're going to handle that. And by unaffiliated, I mean no one in public safety, or you're not in public safety or something of that nature. You're a citizen that wants to offer your help to the community. Please come to the Volunteer Reception site in Smith Station. Affiliated volunteers, both inside Alabama and outside of Alabama, we would like for them to call the EMA and register themselves. If they're an individual that is coming. If their agency wants to come, they can register that agency through the 211 system. But let us know who you are and what you can offer to the situation, and we'll speak with the sheriff and the fire chiefs and find out if they need you, and then we'll be back in touch with you. Individuals from outside the state of Alabama in that capacity need to work through their state EMAs. They need to volunteer there, and they will work with Alabama EMA, and we'll get that set up if there's a need for what they have to offer. Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm having to read this. Oh, we need, when they push the debris to the roadside, it needs to be separated. You know, you can't push everything into one big pile because we're going to pick it up and we're going to separate it out. We're asking that separate the debris by vegetative, that's trees and limbs, and construction materials, wood, insulation, etc., and large appliances. Push it all out there, but kind of separate it so we can pick it up separately, because that's what we're going to have to do. Already talked about that. If you have been impacted by the tornadoes on Sunday, March 3rd, and have needs that have been met, we want to reiterate that over and over. Tell us what those needs are. That's what we're here for. That's what we want to hear. We can't help you if we don't know what you need. So register on the 211 and let us know. Lee County Register residents that were affected by these storms can receive free bags of ice. Each household can collect 2 bags of ice per day from the distribution center located at the First Baptist Church in Opelika. The trailer is located in the parking lot at the corner of 10th and Avenue B. And starting at 5 p.m. March the 5th, it will be open every day for people to drive in and get their ice if they need it. For those who still have not been able to contact a friend or family member, go to the Lee County EMA website, and it's www.leecoema.com, LEECOEMA.com. And there is a form on there that you can fill out to give us your information and the information on the person that you can't make contact with from that area, okay? Or if you suspect that they may have been in that area. We're asking that you give us complete information on the missing person. What was their address? If they had a phone, if you have their phone number, put that down too. A lot of information that we need on the person that is missing. But that form is still up for those who may need it, so we're encouraging people to register that. We have a Red Cross shelter still at Providence Baptist Church, and anyone who needs sheltering can go to Providence Baptist Church. We may be opening more depending on the need, but right now that is the shelter location. It is not full, so we're encouraging people to take advantage of that shelter opportunity. There was one more thing that I think maybe that's got it. This has been an ordeal for all of us. But I'm going to tell you, I think the people here and the people who have come to help us have performed admirably throughout this. And we have reached out to our citizens to assist them and help get them back on their feet and help them with their medical needs. Also, the Red Cross, I forgot to tell them this, Rita, the Red Cross has medicines available for people who maybe have lost their homes. in this event. So they can contact us at the LECO EMA, or they can contact the Red Cross, and they can offer some assistance with that if people have medications that were maybe destroyed. That's another option that we have for them. But we're here for the citizens, and we cannot emphasize enough that we want them to communicate with us and let us know what they need and how we can help them even further than we have. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead.
How many active searches do you still have going on? Do you have a number of people who have gone onto your website to mention this?
I think Sheriff Jones will be speaking in just a moment, and he can address that, I think. Okay.
Ms. Carson,
Yeah.
you directed people to go to websites. What if they don't have internet access?
They can call the Lee County EMA at 334-749-8161. We have a whole staff there that is waiting to talk to them. And we will be implementing further measures to be able to assist people with needs. But right now, they can go ahead and call the Lee County EMA.
Can we just leave those questions to the end? I think we're going to cover.
Oh, I thought you meant when I finished.
No.
All right.
Great, thank you.
I'm Byron Prather, Fire Chief at the City of Opelika. I was asked to speak on some of the search and rescue efforts going on today from the fire EMS perspective. We're still actively searching areas there. Today we do have firefighters on the ground searching. They're searching not mainly for somebody, but just searching areas that have large piles of debris, searching through that debris to make sure that we miss nobody. It's a continuous effort from fire EMS and law enforcement and other agencies that we continue to search and make sure that we don't miss nothing. We do have crews there. We're standing by with for EMS services if needed. I know we've provided that, but we'll continue to be there as long as necessary. There are many agencies involved: the Opelika Fire Department, Auburn Fire Department, the Beauregard Volunteer, just to name a few. There is a collective effort of fire departments working together in that area, and we are still conducting some searches in the area, sifting through piles of debris where there may be people or animals such as that there. So we haven't given up hope. We're still searching. Thank you.
At this time, Sheriff Jay Jones, Sheriff for Lee County, will speak.
Good morning. At this time, the search efforts, as mentioned by Chief Prather a minute ago, are continuing. We have been able to narrow the searches down from a broad spectrum of the area down to specific areas of particular concern. These are associated with addresses of individuals that were in the most affected areas. We're in the process of having our investigators contacting families and making sure that individuals that heretofore have been unaccounted for are accounted for. That process is ongoing. At this point, the current number we're looking at is approximately 7 to 8 people. It's come down, way down actually, from what we initially had. That effort will continue today. Hopefully that number will continue to decrease as the day goes on. And again, we're concentrating on specific pockets. The search is not as in a broad spectrum. A lot of heavy equipment coming into these particular areas that we're using to pick up big portions of the debris to do searches under those areas to ensure that we covered everything. And some of the other issues that we're looking at, of course, are in regard to the victims and their families. Which is, of course, always been our primary concern. It is a labor of concern and care that all of the first responders and all the volunteers are engaged in at this point in time. We are continuing to restrict certain areas for access only to first responders and those that are assisting in the search efforts. As the day goes on, it is hoped that we will begin transitioning from a search and rescue to a recovery status as the day goes on. Hopefully by later today and certainly starting tomorrow, at least that is the current plan. And so again, I guess you could emphasize our current efforts is ensuring that we have covered those specific areas of particular concern in regard to those that are not accounted for at this particular time.
At this time, Coroner Bill Harris is going to speak. I will have printed material to give you at the end of this conference.
Thanks, Rita. The number of decedents has not increased. It's still at 23. Yesterday, we were able to positively identify all 23 victims, make families contact, and as of 10 o'clock last night, all 23 victims have been released to the funeral homes of choice by those families for funeral services. The ages range from 6 to 93, I believe. There is a printed list that will be handed out that has the victim's name and their age. I'm not going to get in reading it off right now. You can read that for yourself. They'll be handing those out shortly. Coroner's office is still not done. Our job now is to assist these families and guide them in any directions toward those final dispositions of those decedents. I want to thank the SMORT, which is called the State Mortuary Operations Response Team. I learned early on that afternoon that my resources would be overwhelmed, and this is a state asset that the state of Alabama has that most people don't know about. It's comprised of volunteers, of coroners, and funeral directors around this state. If I make the call or a coroner makes the call, they proceed to that county, and at the discretion of the coroner, they do whatever's needed. We had a team of about 8 EMTs, funeral directors, Lee County investigators. Sheriff Jones assigned 1 investigator to each case. Each case was handled one at a time, and that's why the process took so long yesterday. We had to make sure absolutely that that person was who we were told it was or who we thought it was. We were able to do that. I thank him and his staff. It was a very concerted effort, and we were able to get all that done yesterday afternoon. And Captain Jackson and I talked to the last family about 8 or 9 o'clock last night, and by 10:30 we had all of them released to funeral homes. Just keep those families in your prayers. There's one family there. It was by marriage. They're connected, and there are over 7 people this man lost in one family. So it's a tragic situation. I can't thank this community enough for jumping in there and the support that I've seen firsthand. It's just been amazing. And when this is over, I'll take any questions now, Rita, or later. Questions?
No.
Okay.
We'd like for Chris Darden with the National Weather Service to give a statement, and then we're going to let the director come up and take questions. Okay?
Hi, good morning. We're still in the damage assessment and evaluation phase. Again, just want to reiterate that our job is to assess and get information out to help with disaster declarations, but most important part is the people, not the property. But just want to give a couple of quick updates. No change to the Lee County track, but we are talking with our partners over in the Peachtree City, Atlanta office. So that actual continuous tornado track is probably going to be about 70 miles. That track continued well into Georgia. We'll probably have some additional information out on that today. The Macon County, Macon-Lee track, which was the second tornado, that was upgraded to EF2 late last night. That was on the ground for 29 miles. The 2 Barber tornadoes, which were the same storm, but they were not continuous, they actually lifted and touched back down. Those 2 were both upgraded to EF2 as well. One thing of note there, the second Barber tornado actually destroyed our weather equipment at the Eufaula Airport. It was basically level to the ground. We have a team out today, back out at Barber County, Bullitt County, looking at some more damage out there as well. And I will say this, I'll put it out to the media, thank you guys for everything you're doing. The more attention you get on this event, really it helps the local people and it helps them getting resources. So thank you very much for what you're doing. And if there's any more reports that you have from other counties, please pass those along to us. Sometimes in an event like this, we can go weeks and not hear about something, and then all of a sudden we have another tornado track. So if there's something that you guys hear about, please let us know. You're our eyes and ears on the ground. A couple of things I want to mention. I apologize for not mentioning this yesterday. The radar at Maxwell Air Force Base was a huge, huge help to us. We work with our DoD partners there at Maxwell. They suffered a catastrophic failure about 2 weeks ago, major issue to the radar. Typically, it takes a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, to get that radar back up. The folks at the Department of Defense, along with our partners at the Radar Operations Center out in Oklahoma, They worked tirelessly, literally 24 hours a day, a couple of weeks ago to get that radar back up. If that radar had not been up, we may not have been able to detect the tornado as quickly as we did. So a huge thank you to our partners in Norman, Oklahoma, and also the Department of Defense. So thank you very much to them. One thing I wanted to clarify, there was a couple of things that I saw. I did mention there was only 5 minutes of lead time for the Beauregard community in the warning. Went back and looked at the information. There was about 8 to 9 minutes, roughly, for the first fatality here in Beauregard. That is correct. Right on the county line, there was probably about 5 minutes of warning, but right here in town, there was about 8 to 9 minutes. And we did have a warning to the west in Macon County for the same storm, and we mentioned the storm was wrapping up, but that was about a 40-minute lead time in Macon County for the same storm that produced a tornado here in Lee County. So I did want to clarify that as well. I'll be available today for interviews, questions. Possibly if we could get out, if you guys want to get out in the field too, the areas that are available, we can do some stuff in the field as well. I'll be here through the afternoon. So again, thank you guys for everything you're doing. I appreciate it. The more y'all can get it out in the media and get it out on TV, it's important. It's not important for me. It's not important for us in the Weather Service. It's important for these guys over here. So they're the ones that need it, not me. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. One last thing that I would like to say, I would like to thank Auburn University for the assistance that they have poured down upon Lee County and our agency in particular. They have been a great partner. The Lee County Board of Education, we have taken over some of their sites, and they've been great to provide that resource to us. Providence Baptist Church, who is manning and supporting the shelter for individuals. They have really stepped up. The Red Cross is here working, and United Way. United Way has fed a lot of people. And I would like for you to ask people to support those organizations because they are really providing a valuable service. And I'm afraid I'm missing someone. If I have, I will catch them on the next conference. We can take questions now. Okay.
Can you clarify? I heard 7 to 8 still missing. Is it 7 or 8, or why 7 or 8?
Reason why we're not sure, we have a kind of a mixed report on that number, but it is going to be either 7 or 8, and we're trying to narrow that down. Hopefully we'll have that addressed before the end of the day. Yes, ma'am.
And if I think I understand you, it sounds like y'all are hopeful at this point that you found most of the victims, both living and dead, but you're continuing to search to make sure you didn't miss anyone. Is that a correct assessment?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Do you think that the number of victims will rise, deceased victims will rise much at this point?
We're not ruling that completely out, but we're hoping that of course, as we all are, that number stays static.
Sheriff, of the people who passed away, are you finding them in and around their property, or have they been moved a significant distance?
For the most part, I believe, and Coroner Harris can agree or add to that too, I believe most were found close, very close proximity to their residences. There were a few that were a little bit of a distance, but primarily the majority were found close to the residence of occupation at the time the storm came through.
Sheriff, have there been any arrests related to the storm for any reason?
No, sir. No arrest.
The family that lost 7 or 8 people inside the house, were they inside the house, or were they outside the property? Were they inside an interior room? Where were they?
I think
we believe that every victim was in the residence when the storm hit. They all ended up, with the exception of 2, all ended up outside the residence because the residents aren't there. They're not there.
So you believe was this a mobile home?
Some were mobile homes, some were structured.
The family that lost 7 people.
There was 2 different families. They're related by marriage, but they were on the same road, 2 or 3 houses apart. But all the decedents, with the exception of 2, were found outside of the residences.
But in close proximity to the residence itself.
To the address where they lived.
Coroner, yesterday you mentioned that there were at least 4 victims that you guys were having trouble to identify. How were you guys able to identify them?
We identified them through. We were able to identify them. Unfortunately, we had to show some photographs to family members, and through some other photographs that they've supplied to us, and consensus with the investigators and myself and the team that did the examination of the bodies, we were able to positively identify them.
There's so many people offering to help right now. Individuals say they're collecting supplies, groups collecting supplies, delivering donation centers are full at this point. What's the best way for the public to help the victims right now?
Just pray for them. I know they're going to have some issues. There's going to be, I'm sure there's some families that, especially the family that lost 7, there's going to be some financial issues there. They've got 7 funerals that they're going to have to finance somehow. So I've already had some calls this morning, people willing to help, and I'll be taking those and I'll be directing those families to that assistance. I'm not going to publicly do it, but they'll be okay. It may just take a while.
We'll take one more question.
Are all the services here in Lee County?
I don't know. Like I said last night, we got the last body was released to a funeral home around 10 or 10:30. Now my process is to certify those deaths so they can proceed with the taking care of family affairs. Those deaths will be certified by the end of this week, and then they'll go from there, and then we'll assist them and direct them in any way that we can to help them.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
I'll be around if you need
me. We will be in here for individual interviews. 10 o'clock in the morning.
Here's the list if anybody wants one.